If you wake up every day with some kind of tightness or achiness in your body, this video is going to give you 5 tips that you can action today to start moving and exercising pain-free. Now, to give context as to why these tips are going to improve the way that you feel, we have to first understand, why do we start feeling achy and tight to begin with? As human beings living big lives, we go out and do a whole bunch of different activities every day. And sometimes these activities cause stress, trauma, and overuse to our joints. And when we keep using these joints, our body has one of 2 choices to make. 1, keep using these joints and cause irreparable damage, or 2, offload the burden from those joints to other ones in the body so that the joint that's irritated can start to heal. A good example might be stubbing your toe. Let's say you stub your toe. What happens? Well, if it's not a bad stub and your body detects everything's okay, you might walk funny for 10 or 15 seconds, but afterwards, you'll be just fine. But let's say it's a terrible stub and you actually break your big toe. You've got to be in a cast for 8 weeks now. What happens? Well, those muscles in that joint is isolated by the cast, so you're not using it as much. This means that the amount of muscle you have at that toe is going to go down, as well as the input going to and from the brain. That communication is going to get less as well. All this means that your body can't really use that area as well anymore. And if you're still going out there doing all the stuff that you want to, and that joint can't handle it anymore, what's your body gonna do? It's gonna toss the buck to another joint in your body, and so on and so forth. A good way to think about it might be like a hockey team or a basketball team. You have 5 players, and if they're all doing their job, everything is great, they're winning a lot of games. But let's say you've got one player on the team who is lagging behind, they're not putting the same amount of effort in. What's gonna happen? Those other 4 players, they have to compensate. They have to work harder. Now, who's going to be irritated and upset? Is it going to be the one person that's lagging behind, or is it going to be the other 4 players working overtime? Probably those other 4 players working overtime. They're going to get uptight and achy, just like your joints. And so ultimately, you are a collection of your life history. This means that you have your own unique strengths and weaknesses in your body, as well as your own stresses and things that have happened to your physicality that are impacting the way you move and feel right now. And there's a good chance that you've got some areas in your body that just aren't contributing as well as they could, and that is often at the root cause of your tightness and achiness that you're experiencing. So, how can we start to improve the stamina and the strength of these areas of your body that just aren't contributing as much as they could be? Well, let's take a look. So the first tip is, I want you to start thinking about potentiating your muscles. Now, what the heck does that even mean? Well, believe it or not, when you use your muscles, they actually have a short-term and long-term memory for the things that you do with them. It's one of the reasons why you can learn to catch and throw a ball. It's also one of the reasons why exercise seems to really help people move and feel better. Because if you can teach your body, even with small little contractions, how to work better and improve the output in these areas, these muscles, you can actually see these areas that might not be contributing as much start contributing more and more, because you can potentiate and turn them on. Think about them like a dimmer switch. The stress, trauma, and overuse causes a dimmer switch on your muscles to go down, so it's low, maybe at 5 to 10%. It's not contributing as very much, it's very dark. However, if you learn to potentiate and stimulate your muscles with exercise, you can take that dimmer switch from that 5 or 10% and start moving it up to 20, 30, 40, 50, up to 100%, so that those muscles are shining bright and you can use them for all the activities that you want to. This will take the burden off the muscles that are being overworked, because the muscles that might not be contributing as much before are now contributing more again. So you might ask yourself, how do I potentiate my muscles, Glen? The answer is very, very simple. By using them, by contracting them. By very strategically using your muscles with exercise, you can actually potentiate them to make them stronger, more responsive, and help bring them back online, or increase the dimmer on that dimmer switch so that they can be used more and more often, which leads us into our next tip. The second thing I want you to start doing is starting to challenge yourself with exercise near the end of your limits in whatever position you are visiting or whatever exercise that you are doing. Remember how we talked about how your muscles can actually learn new things? Well, as you visit and challenge your joints and your muscles in end positions, your body actually detects that you're getting stronger there. And as a result of that, it actually allows you to start using and moving to those positions in day-to-day life. Believe it or not, this is one of the reasons why people seem to have such incredible improvements in mobility from yoga, is because yoga often very much focuses on lengthening out and being as long as you can and visiting some of these end range positions. Positions that people may visit temporarily in day-to-day life, but they never really challenge or stimulate otherwise. And there's a big difference there. You have to be challenging these positions, not just visiting them temporarily, in order to see an improvement in range of motion. And so once your body learns that it's comfortable being in these positions under challenge and load, it feels far more comfortable giving you that range of motion or that newly found joint position in your day-to-day life. And if you have a lot more joint positions open, or you have a lot more mobility in your day-to-day life, you'll be more able to spread the burden of the challenges of day-to-day life through more different joints and more different positions in your body, meaning that your body doesn't beat up so many tissues, causing you to have less painfulness, less tightness, and less achiness in your body. Number 3, if it hurts, stop doing it. If something's causing you pain and discomfort, whether it's sharp or it's dull and achy, you ought to stop doing it. And here's why. Just like you can teach your body to be more comfortable in different positions and teach muscles to be stronger, if you're consistently giving your body a pain signal, your body can learn over time that going in that position can cause pain and discomfort, even after that area might heal. So to give you an example, think about somebody with phantom limb pain. Phantom limb pain is an experience that somebody who has had a body part amputated experiences. It's when they feel pain and discomfort in the area that has been taken off of their body. And so what's going on here? The area is gone. They have no leg. Why do they still experience leg pain? Because that pain and discomfort didn't actually exist at the level of the leg. The tissues did. Where the pain actually existed was the wiring in their brain. And their brain was so wired to experience pain and discomfort there that even when that joint was removed, the neurological connection in the brain still existed. So you can teach your body that positions are painful even when there's no actual tissue damage. So start avoiding painful, discomforting movements if you can, and start working on getting everything else stronger. And what you will find over time is those painful areas, not so painful anymore. Number 4, increase the strength and stamina of your weaker muscles. So let's say, for example, that you know you had an ACL injury on your right side. Your knee and the ability to extend it and to flex it is just not the same as the one on the opposite side. Well, what happens if you decide to go for a long walk with your family? Well, because those muscles on your right knee are a little bit weaker and they have less stamina, over time as you fatigue, your hip or your ankle or your back or another part of your body might end up having to pick up all that load. And as a result, those areas are working harder and they get tight and achy. And so by identifying which areas in your body are weaker and have less stamina, and now improving their strength and their output, you can actually take the burden and stress off other areas and then have some of that tightness and achiness that you're experiencing go down. So it's important that if you know there's an area where you have less muscle, less endurance, less strength, that you work on that area in particular to help improve it so that it's at the status quo of the rest of your body. Number 5, last but not least, still very important, is know your limit and exercise and perform activities within it. Now, you may have heard of the story of Goldilocks and the 3 bears, and if you haven't, it's about a girl who goes into the home of 3 bears, and she's eating their porridge, and she's trying to find which one is going to be the best for her because she sees 3 bowls. One that's very hot, one that's very cold, and one that's just right for her. And so she eats the one that's just right for her. Well, every joint at your body has its own Goldilocks zone for its tolerance to stress, force, and exercise. If you do too much exercise, you can cause more damage and more pain and discomfort. That's like eating the porridge that would be too hot. Or likewise, you may not do enough to train or exercise or work on your joint. And as a result, you are eating the porridge that's too cold. You're not doing enough to stimulate what you need to in order to improve. However, if you find the porridge that's just right, or in this case, find the exercise amount or physical activity amount that's just right for your knee, the good thing is that you'll get stronger, you'll have more stamina, and your knee is going to feel better. So the moral of the story here is that every joint in your body has a specific amount of force or stress that it can tolerate. And it's important that you work within that area so that you can improve the tolerance of that area more and more, but also so that you don't overdo it and make the pain discomfort worse in your body. What I want you to do with these 5 tips is start working on and exercising, potentiating those areas that might not be working as well. That way, when you start getting them stronger and improve their endurance, the overall feeling in your entire body gets better and you can do all the stuff in your life that you love. So everyone, at the end of the day, I just want the entire world moving and feeling their best. And if you know anyone who has tightness or achiness in their body who you think might benefit from this video, please send it to them. You could change a life. Thanks so much for watching.